All right. Happy weekend, nerds. It's been a long week for me, and I got a lot to talk about. So let's get this weekend update started. All right. So, first off, went back to teaching. Had to set up my classroom, sit through those fun meetings where you basically learn about how someone has to justify their job, so they make you reinvent the wheel over and over again. Anyways, I'm not going to talk too much about that. But if you are a teacher or you know someone's a teacher, ask them about it and they will completely tell you what I'm talking about. Got to see my new students. They seem like a good group of kids. I'm kind of excited for this year. I had them do like a little sample narrative writing for me on the first day just so I can kind of see where they're at. Some need to grow. Some already have some pretty cool talent. So I can't wait to see where that goes. Obviously, I have to do more than just let them write stories, but I try to sneak it in as much as possible. Let them have some fun. Anyways, so let's get into what I read. The only thing I got done this week is I really went through Buffalo Hunter x Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones. Phenomenal read. It was, I don't know. I didn't know what I was getting into until I got about 40% into the book. And then I realized, I'm like being taught something right now. And it was one of those rare experiences where you get to read a fictional story, but it's so based in historical realism to a degree that I just felt like I got a piece of something that I'll never forget about now to like add to my soul. So to a long story short, Buffalo Hunter x Hunter is, I would describe it, I know Stephen Graham Jones is known for horror, but I think it's more of a historical, supernatural drama is kind of where I guess if I'm going to pigeonhole it to genres, because it does cross genres. It is the story of, I forget her exact career. I know her dad wanted her to be like a chemist or something like that, and she ended up going into one of the arts. I'm forgetting at the moment, mostly because you only spend like the first 10% of the book with her and in the last 10%. So you kind of get thrown off. Anyways, her name is Etsy. So our main character, Etsy, it's brought to her attention in her father's old home that they found this diary that was hidden in the walls. So she reclaims it and she realizes it's from like, the 1870s, I think. It spans from events that happened in the 1820s to 1870s. So you have, she's learning about her ancestor, who is this priest who lived in an interesting life, let's just say that. And he encountered a Native American who wanted to confess his sins to this priest, and the story just unwinds from there. I don't want to say, obviously, enough that spoils anything, but this Native American is anything but normal. This priest has his own secrets. The main character has to deal with those themes at the end of the book. That was, as I was rating it in my categories, I mean, the plot and hook has you're in it. Like, you're in it from the start. So that one got a 5 from me. Like that carried all the way through. I had to see what would happen next. I wanted to know what the big twist was going to be. I wanted to see where it resolved and how it would resolve with the main character Etsy when it got back up to her. So that was phenomenal. Characters is the only area that I almost for a half a second gave it a 4 instead of a 5. And it was only because I wanted more time with Etsy, because I felt like you got her in the very beginning and you got her at the very end. And the way that the characters are in the middle of the story is that they just feel a little more fleshed out. But after sitting on it for a week, I realized, I think that was Stephen Graham Jones's point, is that more thought was put into life and personality maybe in the past, and character and thought and philosophy. And Etsy's meant to reflect more of like a modern person in society, or like even just a modern American, right? This idea of not really understanding our past and not really grappling with our cultural history and things like that. So, and also the sins of our fathers type of stuff. The rest of the categories got 5s. I mean, there was nothing I hated about the story. I went into it wanting a horror book, And while I was never particularly scared in the story, or I never felt like any of the horror was in your face or visceral, don't get me wrong, there's some gory scenes in the book, but like, it just was so fascinating, the story it told. So I will warn you, like, if you go into Buffalo Hunter expecting a horror story, that's not what he's giving you here. He's giving you a historical drama with some supernatural elements in it. And it was beautifully done. So, and the themes, so many themes from this book about how we can't just forget about what our ancestors did, but also on the flip side, how we can't always be judged for what our ancestors did, because we are our own person, and that we should be allowed to make our own mistakes, but we can't pretend like our fathers and our fathers' fathers didn't participate into some horrendous things. And I think that's something that Stephen Graham Jones is trying to throw at you in this book, this idea of you need to both be aware and feel bad about what happened in the past, but that doesn't mean that you have to feel guilty about it at the same time. Like you should take what you learn from that and make now better, which is exactly what the point of learning history should be. You take what happened in the past and you make now better with it. Okay? So anyways, sorry, I had to get off my soapbox for a second there. I can't stand when people are always like, oh, we should do things back then. It's like there were good things that you're talking about that you wish to repeat, but you're purposely forgetting about the stuff that was bad. We need to still remember that so we can make sure we don't end up doing it. So anyways, enough with that rant. So yeah, that book was phenomenal. 5 out of 5. I can't think of a way to ding it down. It might be boring to some people, and I know some people don't like Stephen Graham Jones's narrative style, but I was all for it. All right, let's move on. So what am I reading right now? 3 things on my plate. I'm still working my way through Empire of the Dawn. I'm about 200 pages into that. I'm in the second book of the 6 books that are in it. It's fine. It's a little slowed down. If you read the second book, let's just say like the other perspective that gets introduced in the second book, while I appreciate it, it does feel like in the third book, I want things to be moving a little bit faster. I liked it in the second book. In this book, I kind of want things to speed up a little bit more, but I'm still enjoying it. So it is what it is. I haven't felt compelled to like sit down with it over other things right now. I went back into The Lone Drow again by R.A. Salvatore. I just, like I said, I wasn't done with it. I just needed a soft pause. So I, unpaused it, and I'm enjoying it a lot more now. I like forced myself to take a couple weeks off from it. And now now it's more fun again. There's some interesting stuff happening in that book. I'm curious. R.A. Salvatore is pushing himself with a couple scenes in this one that I'm like, ooh, you've never done that before. Let's see how you handle it, Mr. Salvatore. So I'm enjoying that. We're also audiobooking. Me and my wife started audiobooking Straight by Chuck Tingle on the way to work. And that one's only 3.5 hours. But the problem is we were listening to it in the morning, and our drive's about 30 minutes. So we'd get about 30 minutes of the book done. And then on the way back, the deal is that my daughters get to play their K-pop music and emo music and alt metal. We've got them mixed in all kinds of stuff. The playlist goes from like Baby Monster to Blackpink to like Motionless in White to Evanescence to then Trivium. Like it's weird what's going on in my car. So anyways, so we're trying to make our way through that. We've got about 2 more car rides to finish it. It's fine. I think it's funny. And I think it's got some horror in it. I'm not the biggest fan of the main character, and it has nothing to do with... so the concept behind the book, let me get into that before I tell you why I don't like the main character. Because I don't want to come off as anything that I am definitely not. The main concept is apparently they have this event that they call Saturation Day or something that happens. And in the course of the story, it had happened 2 years ago. So every year it happens. Where basically straight, cis, heterogeneous people go like berserk for a night. Like they basically go crazy, loony, and they hunt down anyone who's on the queer spectrum. And it's meant to sort of be a reflection of like radical right and conservatism and like, at least as far as I can take out of it. But also this idea of, being caught up in something you don't want to be a part of, because like they talk about a few of the characters that They have some trauma from the first saturation day. Like the main character, this is not a spoiler. You learn it early in the story, but like basically it happened when his straight brother was over at his apartment. So like there's some trauma from that. And so it reflects like a zombie thing. But after the saturation day is done, everyone goes back to normal. So they've developed like a vaccine and stuff like that. And Chuck Tingle kind of plays with this idea of like who's really getting vaccinated and who says they're getting vaccinated. So that way they don't go crazy again. And then there's also the angle of, well, what if like most viruses, like the flu, you know, what if it adapts and changes to where that vaccine doesn't work anymore or doesn't work as well? So they're concerned about that. So our main characters in the beginning of the book are like, all right, here comes saturation day. Or I think they call it desaturation day. They changed the name for something. But they're going to go out to this cabin they rented in like the middle of the desert. And they're just like, they're going to hold out there. They're going to put blankets all over the windows. And they're just going to chill. And they're going to stay quiet. And they're just going to wait it out. Well, you know, it's a horror book. So things don't go according to plan. My main problem is that I don't care anything about anything in a horror story. It just, Chuck Tingle did this thing, which I don't know. I have to read his other books to see if he does it. I don't like when all of a sudden in a scary situation, one character wants to try to be rational, because to put it frankly, it's bullshit. Like at one point they're standing there and this other character, Jason's got a gun and he's one of the queer ones. And he's like, I'm going to shoot anyone that comes into this house. Like, because they're trying to kill us. And then the main character's like, yeah, but like they don't know what they're doing. We should try to like avoid them. And I see that stuff just makes me mad because I'm like, oh well, I mean, you know, you got to deal with what you got to deal with. I don't know. It was bothering me. I can tell my wife while we're listening to it. I keep making like comments as it's going. I'm like, oh, that's going to get somebody killed. Oh, that's going to get someone killed. Oh, that's yeah. So, and knowing what's going to happen is the character who wants to try not to hurt anybody is going to cause the deaths of everyone else and be the only one who survives. Which, in a way, could also be something that Chuck Tingle is doing. I just don't know it yet. So I'm enjoying the book. I know I'm complaining right now. I'm enjoying it. It's fun. I'm just waiting to see where he takes that main character. Because the main character, I like the main character. Like as a person, he's fine. He's nothing wrong with him. It's just the decision making is kind of stupid. So I'm waiting to see what happens with that. Like at one point in the beginning of the book, he's like, should I bring a weapon to the cabin? And he's like, no, I can't be that person. I'm not going to bring a weapon to the cabin. I'm like, really, bro? Just grab your damn kitchen knife. Like, you know, could have saved someone's life if you had that kitchen knife is my point. Anyways, so we're doing that right now. I like his writing style. I'm enjoying it. It's just, I just hope the main character like at least either learns or Chuck Tingle has a lesson coming from that I'm going to deeply enjoy. So we'll see. All right. Other news going on right now. Broken Binding apparently just teased out that they're going to be doing the Dresden Files, which I've been waiting for years. So I told Marissa, we're jumping right on that. Because I've been, I don't really own any of the Dresden File books, except maybe some random ones I got from Second and Charles here and there in the house. Because the editions are always like cheap paperbacks I find or whatever, which, you know, those get passed around. A lot of people borrow them or whatever. We don't get a whole lot of nice fancy books unless we know we really like the series. We both really like Dresden Files. It's actually one of our biggest crossover series. So I'm really excited that Broken Binding is going to be doing the Dresden Files supposedly. So I'm hoping I can get on that list and get those its special edition books. And when I do, I'll show them off on the channel, you know, if I get them. So, but that's exciting. What I plan on reading soon, whenever I finish Empire of the Dawn, the third book in the Empire of Vampire trilogy, I'm going to start, I want to do a reread of Swan Song by Robert McCammon. That book's been on my mind a lot lately, and I read it about this time last year for the first time. And I just kind of want to re-explore it now that I've seen everything in it and see if certain themes and things and certain decisions like reflect differently now that I've read it. I don't know. Just something fun. That's something I'm thinking about getting into. I don't have any other book that like I'm like dying to get to right now. I'll pick two others when the time comes, but that's the one that's on my mind every day that I'm like, ooh, I want to finish Empire of the Dawn because I want to get back into Swan Song. So other news, I'm going to be starting my like journey to get these kids to read in school. So I'm going to be introducing them to different books, different things like that. I'm hoping I can get a few of them into reading. I'm hoping the ones that are into reading, I can expand their interests and things like that. So if you know any good books that you think would fit in a middle school recommendation area, one thing that would really help me, and I got to make this clear because, like, you got to remember what generation we're talking about. I've got a couple kids that are into Star Wars lately. The Star Wars has kind of made a comeback with some of the sixth graders, and I'm looking for stuff that can hold the interest of, like, the TikTok sixth grader, you know? Because I got one kid, he's already asking me, like, do you have any Star Wars books? And I know in the past I've read some Old Republic stuff that was interesting and whatnot, but I don't have any in my house anymore. So I'm wondering if you guys have ever read a Star Wars book that you think would hold the interest of some of these teenage boys or girls, preteen boys or girls that, you know, let's be honest, like they're not going to be able to sit through 100 pages of setup. They're going to have to get into it pretty quick. So other than that, nothing much going on. I'll just go ahead and plug while I'm here. You can check out my book, All the Yesterdays, or you can even check out my buddy's book, When Roots Drink Deep. Okay, Damian Tweedy. Good reads, good solid, small reads too. I mean, mine's 300 pages, but in comparison to the 400 to 600 pages, you know, that's not bad, right? You have a good time with them. I purchased this. It was kind of interesting. So I tried that little thing you put on your thumb and you put between pages to hold like a heavy book up in the air. I didn't like that. That felt weird. That felt uncomfortable. So I ended up doing this instead, which is just this like weighted strap that you put down on your book while it's laying open, and it just holds the pages open, and you could just easily slide it or pick it up and move it when you need to get down to the next part. I thought it would be annoying at first, but I'm kind of loving it, to be honest. So if you like to read big books and you want to leave them on a table open and not have to worry about like your pages blowing in the wind or whatever, like I could see bringing this if we go like picnicking or whatever when it gets cooler, and being able to read at the picnic tables at the park or whatever, just have this on the pages. You could even put it vertically, I noticed, in some books pretty good too. So it can kind of serve as like a weighted bookmark to keep where you're at, and maybe you won't have to move it as much. So I don't know, just a weird purchase I made I'd share with you guys that deals with book stuff. Other than that, I think I'm going to sign off. I'm not going to let this video be too long. I'm going to try to get out more content soon. School's heavy. School's a lot. I got football starting next week that I got to now shift gears. I got to go from nerd to coach for a little while. But I'll at least get my weekend update videos going. And hopefully I'll find some time to do some other kind of video during the week. If you stick around, I appreciate you. You know how busy life is. So, you know, just leave me subscribed. And if you see my thing pop up once a week, at least you got something to watch for 20 minutes once a week, right? I don't have the best production quality, but at least it's something, you know? It's there. My pumpkins are growing outside. So right now I'm in the part where I'm trying to battle bugs off of them. So we'll see how that goes. See if I don't give up on that anytime soon. But anyways, stay nerdy. Keep reading. Don't let life get you down, because, you know, if you're a millennial like me, you've never seen what life looks like when it's great. So, you know, just be like Donut from Dungeon Crawler Carl and enjoy it, right? It's the best you could do. So, signing off as Good Stab. See you guys later.